Alrighty, good morning, guys. So, running a little late this morning. I was having technical difficulties trying to get this set up, but here we are. Hope you're having a good Wednesday morning. It's April the 19th, and it's time for our morning devotion. So, today we're going to continue in Psalm 51. We're going to be in verses 5 through 9, and David is still in this prayer of repentance. If you remember from yesterday, the context of this psalm is David is repenting because his sin has been exposed from having an affair with Bathsheba. And so he's been called out on it, and he realizes the wrong that he's done, and he's before the Lord praying a prayer. And so let me just go ahead and we'll begin in verse 5. It says, "Surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the time my mother conceived me. And yet you desired faithfulness even in the womb. You taught me wisdom in the secret place. Cleanse me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness, and let the bones you have crushed rejoice. Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquity." And so David is praying this prayer, and he makes a couple observations about himself. He says that surely I was sinful at birth, and that that even perhaps sinful from the time his mother conceived him. And theologically, that's an interesting observation to make. And as a Christian, we believe that we are born into brokenness. We are born with something not right. The Bible calls it a sinful nature. And you can argue for or against it. The one observation I've been able to make over the years, and my dad actually has pointed out, is he said, when the kids were little, we didn't start to teach them to lie. Like, they just for some reason picked it up on their own. And I've noticed that in my own kids, that, at some point they start kind of going off in the wrong direction. And I think that we all suffer from that to some degree. And the Bible just simply says it's because our relationship with God is broken. And because of that, we feel guilt, shame, fear that throws us off in our relationships. So we all have this sinfulness that we carry around. But David makes an interesting point, or an interesting request. In verse 9 he says, "Hide your face from my sins and blot out all of my iniquity." Essentially what David is saying is, Father, I know I've messed this up. I know there's a record of it. I'm asking you to erase the record. Now this is an interesting request that David's making, because it's something that you wouldn't request. But it's actually kind of prophetic in nature, in the sense that it points to God's overall plan. Because with his son Jesus, that was his plan, was to erase the record of sin for those who are in relationship with him. And so David is tapping into a New Testament reality in his Old Testament world, that he is somehow closer in the mind of God, understanding God's ways, and requesting something that God at this point had not revealed to his people. And mainly, it kind of got me thinking simply this: with friendship with God comes special favors. That the closer we are to God, the more we know him and his ways, it's almost as if we have permission to ask for special things. And I'm not trying to say that God doesn't love all of us equally, but I do think that as we pursue a close relationship with him, that we just get a deeper benefit from that relationship because we know how he is. And I think that's what David's saying here. He says in verse 6, "You taught me wisdom in that secret place." If you remember David's story, if you remember David's story, he had spent that special time with God in the wilderness. And because of that, he had a special friendship with God. And because of that, I think this is why he's bold enough to make this request, because of his friendship. There's a question here at the bottom of the screen from Kenny. Hey, Kenny. And it says, can we all be saved? And I would say yes. That the grace in God is the grace of God is for everyone. And it's given to us as a gift, and the only thing that we have to do is receive that. And so that's a great question. And regardless of where we've been, what we've done, that the grace is extended to us. But this devotion this morning simply had me thinking about that as we draw closer to God, as we step closer to Him in friendship, that His favor shines upon us. And because His favor shines upon us, sometimes we can ask for favors when we need them. So I hope that makes sense to you guys this morning. And Amber just walked in. She's getting ready to try to bomb the place, blow up the devotion. So we'll let you see her pretty face, and then we'll get out of here. So here she is. Hey, Am. And so today is Wednesday. It's Welcoming Wednesday. Make sure that you just open your heart to someone in a welcoming way and be kind. And we will catch you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning.